Howdy gamers, Dredge and Fallout here with a real chonker of a guide. Today we're going to go over how to 100% fully unlock everything for your Praxic blade, meaning every color, every blade form, every blade focus, every power core, and every trait. And of course the video will have chapters, so if you're only interested in unlocking one particular thing, just scroll through the timeline on today's vid until you find the exact chapter you need. Alright, without further ado, let's get going with colors. And yeah, hovering over the exact color you want on the blade itself will tell you how to get that color, but like a lot of things in Destiny, that doesn't really give you all the info. Red. The red crystal can be obtained by invading in Lawless Frontier, specifically by going into the invasion option from the directory, which remember you need death marks to do. Fortunately, for those who feel like they blow at PvP, the wide consensus is that your performance as the invader has no tie at all to your odds at getting the red crystal to drop. There are a boatload of Reddit posts and tweets from players who have mentioned they've gone in, got 0 kills, and still got the red crystal from the post-game reward chest. And wagering your death marks, which you can do from your wallet, seems to have no bearing on how likely you are to get the crystal. It is just 100% pure RNG, so ideally if you're going for the red crystal, just spend one death mark at a time, invade, don't worry if you do well or do badly, and cross your fingers that you'll get the crystal from the post-game reward chest. Orange, indigo, and magenta. I'm putting these 3 crystals into one category because they're all obtained kind of the exact same way, and that is through completing runs of Lawless Frontier on a specific planet. Basically, do any job of Lawless Frontier, and at the end of the activity, when you open the reward chest, you have a chance to obtain any of these 3 crystals depending on what planet the mission was on. The orange crystal has a chance from doing Lawless Frontier missions on Mars. The indigo crystal has a chance from doing Lawless Frontier missions on Europa. And the magenta crystal has a chance from doing Lawless Frontier missions on Venus. Blue and green. These 2 colors are also being put into one category because again, they are acquired basically the same way. The very first time you run the Fire and Ice mission, aka as part of the D2 Renegades campaign, your very first blade color will be either blue or green. Later in Renegades, you'll have an option to run a quest called the Praxic's Path, which includes a step where you run the Fire and Ice mission a second time. When you complete the mission for a second time, you will be awarded the other color, aka if your first color was green, then rerunning the mission in the Praxic's Path questline, you'll get blue and vice versa. Cyan. When playing Lawless Frontier, you have the option to complete contracts, which are kind of like faction-specific bounties. Every time you complete a contract, the game will automatically add another contract into the menu for you to complete if you wish. However, if your faction rank 3 or higher with that specific faction, then when the game gives you a new contract, it has a chance to be a high-level contract. Completing a high-level contract has a chance to reward you with the cyan color blade. Bungie has noted, by the way, that when Renegades launched, the cyan crystal was dropping way less frequently than intended for whatever reason, but that seems to be fixed as of now. Taken. The Taken blade can drop from the Equilibrium dungeon in a very particular way. I've heard some people say, just farm the final boss, but that's actually not true. According to Bungie, you have to do 3 encounters in the Equilibrium dungeon, and when you do, the Taken blade has a chance to drop after completing the 3rd encounter. According to Bungie, they say that the order of the encounters doesn't actually matter. So in theory, if you started on the final boss encounter with a friend via a checkpoint, then relaunched the dungeon and did encounters 1 and then 2, it could potentially drop from the 2nd encounter completion. But I think the way most people will farm for it will just be straight up doing the entire dungeon from start to finish. Unlike the exotic bow heirloom, which you only have a chance of getting once per week per character, you have unlimited chances at getting the Taken blade color to drop, so you can farm for it as much as you want. Just remember, gotta do 3 encounters in any order. Yellow. If you open your portal and click on Seasonal Hub, you'll see that on the left-hand side of the screen, you have active orders, which are basically bounties that you can complete if you want to. These orders have tiers, as you can see. I have legendary orders and also common orders. You'll also notice there's a meter down there. That is your progress meter towards getting a new legendary order. When the meter completely fills, you'll get another legendary active order, but there's a small chance that it'll actually be an exotic active order. Completing an exotic active order will reward you with an exotic payout, which you have to claim manually. Collecting an exotic payout has a chance to reward you with the yellow blade color, white, gradient, and purple. The final 3 colors are, of course, only obtainable via the Eververse for 1,000 silver apiece, which I believe is $10 each. However, there's always a chance that sometime way down the line in 2026, these colors may eventually become available for Bright Dust. That is not me with insider knowledge or anything, by the way, just saying that most of the time, things in the Eververse that cost silver eventually become available way later on for Bright Dust. All right, moving on. How to get every blade form, which if you didn't know gives gives your blade additional unique effects in combat depending on which form you choose to use. The balanced form is your default blade form, and when you complete the Fire and Ice mission for the first time during the campaign, you'll receive that form along with the Praxic blade itself. The defensive form is part of the A Praxic's Path questline. Step 4, I believe in that particular quest, requires you to purchase a Praxic blade mod in the Tharsis Bazaar. And by the way, even if you went to the outpost right now out of curiosity and didn't see the mod for sale anywhere, don't panic. When you reach that particular step in A Praxic's Path questline, the mod will become available for sale automatically. The offensive form, which is in my opinion the hands down best form for the blade, is available about midway through the Equilibrium dungeon quest, which is called The Way Between, specifically after completing step 4. And by the way, because there are several aspects of upgrading the Praxic blade that are tied to completing the Way Between quest, I will now take you on a brief walkthrough of how to fully complete the Way Between. And don't worry, it'll be easy. Almost as easy as getting hooked up with a new PC from Starforge, long-term partners of my channel and sponsor of today's video. I currently use a Starforge PC for YouTube and streaming, and this thing is a beast. I love it to death. Every single Starforge PC is built by hand in the US of A and goes through a rigorous quality assurance and testing process. They are packed safely and securely before shipping, and every PC comes with a 2-year parts and labor warranty. True story, I tried building a PC years ago, and while I did succeed, it, no joke, took 5 years off of my life, and I vowed I would leave it to the professionals from then on. And I'm so happy that I did. Take it from me, please. Starforge is amazing, and they will not let you down. I truly can't recommend them enough, so if you're looking for a new PC for gaming, streaming, whatever, check out my link down in the pinned comment. And again, eternal thanks to Starforge. All right, we back. After picking up the quest from Honor, your first real goal is to complete the Equilibrium dungeon for the first time. When you've done that, you'll now be on step 3 of the quest, which wants you to relaunch the dungeon and return a stolen relic. Relaunch the dungeon, and before starting the first encounter, turn around from the ship and head into the Praxic Temple, all the way up the stairs in the back to a new area. When you're back there, you should have the option to place the relic in the far left stand. In a nutshell, you're now going to have to recover 3 more relics and bring them all back to this location. The second relic can be found after completing the first encounter of the dungeon. When the encounter is over, go back into the temple and head right through a big open doorway. Use your Praxic blade to damage the taken orb in that room, and you'll now begin a mini puzzle. Breaking the taken orb drops goo on the ground. Stand in the goo to summon the taken. In short, kill taken, and whenever you see a large pile of gooing taken glue, stand in it to build up your shadow meter. When your shadow meter is full, you can use your taken grenade ability to de-shield the shielded taken enemy and kill him. You'll get on your falcon and do some pod racing, and if you see any taken eyes in the air during your pod racing, be sure to falcon shoot and destroy them, as doing that will give you extra time during the minigame. Eventually, you'll need to get off your falcon and kill all the taken in the area, again needing to de-shield and kill a taken apprentice by standing in goo to fill up your shadow meter. Have somebody on the fire team throw their Praxic blade at the taken orb in the shield wall to take down the shield wall, and keep going. From here, rinse and repeat. Keep going forward until you have to kill more taken, including another shielded taken who must be de-shielded, and when they're all dead, you throw your Praxic blade at the taken orb on the wall to take down another shield. Doing that will reveal a switch, which you can activate by blasting it with your taken grenade ability, which will lower a nearby shield wall. Go into that room and you'll find the second relic, which you'll need to bring back to the Praxic Temple and place next to the first one. The third relic can be found before the second encounter and after you've boarded the Cabal ship. Carry on through the ship as you normally would. Eventually though, around the part where you have to shoot the little coil switches on the wall, you will find this, another taken orb. Break it with your Praxic blade and step into the goo on the floor to begin another minigame, which will work a lot like the one you did before. You'll have to look around for taken eyes. Breaking them will drop more goo on the floor, and standing in that goo will raise your shadow meter. If you can't find the next taken eye, look around for a switch on the wall, which you can blast with your taken power, which will unlock a door and reveal another taken eye, which will get your meter to full. De-shield the shielded taken with your taken ability blast and keep going. That's basically all this puzzle is. Looking around the the immediate area for more taken eyes, breaking them, filling your meter, and eventually de-shielding and killing the shielded taken. And don't worry about failing before time expires. If you do fail, you can always just try again without needing to relaunch the dungeon. Finally, when you succeed and all the taken are dead before time expires, blast the final wall switch and unlock a new door which will contain relic number 3. The fourth and final relic happens after you complete the second encounter, aka after you kill the Cabal boss who has 2 Blades of Sorrow. As you're heading towards the big jumping puzzle area, you'll find another taken orb right out in the open. It should not be hiding anywhere, you'll see it on the main path. Break it with your Praxic blade and begin another minigame. Very similar to what we've been doing. Kill all the taken and power up your shadow meter. This time though, there won't be enough taken eyes and goo for you to fill up your shadow meter all the way to full, meaning you won't be able to manually de-shield the apprentice. Therefore, simply use your taken ability to just blast the shielded taken off the ledge and he'll fall to his death. Keep progressing towards the big wide open jumping puzzle area and keep doing what you're doing. Kill taken ads and boop another shielded guy off the map. When he's dead, you'll now notice a big platform and a bunch of floating orbs just hovering out in the air. Breaking an orb by throwing your Praxic blade at it will spawn a new platform for you to jump to. Basically, you're going to summon platforms and jump around looking for 3 switches to activate. One is way up high and kind of at the far end of the chasm, if you can see it out on the wall from this clip of me jumping over to the damn thing. The next one is back the other way on the side of a big red pillar. You can see me jumping over to it right about now. The third switch is on another white wall nearby that you gotta jump up to, but you can land on a non-taken ledge in order to reach it, right over there. When all 3 switches are done, head on out of the jumping puzzle area via the exit you normally would, aka jumping up into the big open red pipe. When you head down the air vent like normal, you'll find more taken eyes, and surprise, more taken you gotta kill. Again, fill up your shadow meter and de-shield, then kill the shielded taken. Hit the switch on the wall and open a door to reveal the 4th and final relic. When you've brought the 4th relic to the Praxic temple altar, you'll have the ability to hit activate by the altar. Doing that will summon another taken orb you can break and launch the final minigame for real this time. You'll be teleported into a new room and you'll have to kill a boss called a Shade of Seer. In the fight, kill Shadow Thrall to build up your shadow meter. When your shadow meter is full, you can jump to the Shade boss and you'll get a prompt to activate where you can compel them and lower a portion of their shield. Keep killing Shadow Thrall and filling your meter, then compelling the Shade until its shields are all the way down. When the shields are down, you can start damaging until you hit the health gate mark, of course. There are also shielded taken apprentices in the room and you can de-shield them and kill them as well. Killing them will spawn jumping platforms in the room, which you'll later use to jump up to the boss in order to damage them. Compelling the boss and lowering their shield will eventually spawn a 3rd apprentice who you should also de-shield and kill to create yet another jumping platform that will be helpful in reaching the boss. Killing the apprentices will also spawn an orb on a nearby taken shield wall. Breaking that orb will power down the shield and spawn a taken eye, which you can break to both extend the encounter timer and give you more shadow meter. Keep de-shielding the boss until they become damageable, then jump on the platforms and murder it while its shields are down. Again, completing that quest will unlock several things, which I'll mention throughout the remainder of this video. Final note on the way between, you can only get 1 relic per run by default, meaning normally you need to run through the dungeon basically 5 times to get through the whole thing, 1 per each relic and then 1 more for the final boss fight. However, if you run the dungeon with somebody who has already done this entire quest and put all the relics in the temple themselves, you can collect all the relics in 1 dungeon run, which is huge. Moving on, we now arrive at how to unlock every blade focus. Those let you change up the stats of your Praxic blade depending on what kind of build you're going for. Starting with Crystal Strength, Grip, and Forceful Blade. Those 3 blade focuses are bought via credits through each individual faction at the Tharsis Outpost. For example, if you enter the Pikers faction headquarters and head to the table in the back of the room, you'll see that the Grip 1 blade focus is available for 1,000 credits. However, you can only buy the next higher tiered focus if your reputation with that faction is high enough. Level 1 focus mods require you to be faction rank 2 with that faction. Level 2 focus mods require you to be faction rank 4 with that faction. And level 3 focus mods require you to be faction rank 5, aka max faction rank with that faction. Crystal Strength 1, 2, and 3, aka the charge rate, is available through the Totality Division faction. Grip 1, 2, and 3, aka Guard, Resist, and Endurance, is available through the Pikers faction, and Forceful Blade 1, 2, and 3, aka Impact, is available through the Tharsis Reformation. The Blade Ammo Blade Focus focus comes from weekly shipments from your factions. If you go to any of the 3 factions at the outpost and talk to that faction's quartermaster, you'll see down at the very bottom that they have an option for weekly shipments. There are 3 sizes: small, large, and massive. Completing a massive shipment quest, aka complete 3 priority contracts in this case, has the potential to drop the blade ammo blade focus. The invigorating blade focus is obtained from the dungeon quest called The Way Between. If you skipped ahead to this part in the video, rewind a little bit and watch the walkthrough of The Way Between quest. The invigorating blade focus will drop after you've delivered the 3rd relic into the Praxic temple. Moving on, power cores, which determine how exactly you're able to apply elemental keyword effects via your Praxic blade. The impact core has a chance to be sold at the Tharsis outpost. Players have noted that this usually happens from Friday to Sunday, at least that's been the case for the past 2 weeks. The core itself will be in a case on a table right near Honor. And remember, there are usually 2 cases on that table, so don't look too quickly, see one thing and be like, oh man, it's not there. I've had that happen to a few friends of mine. The refraction core will tell you in the weapons menu itself that it can be obtained through the salvage exchange. I've never attempted to get it from there, as basically everybody I know and their mother has gotten the refraction core through the homeless Dreg, which I've put out a separate YouTube video on. Basically, there's a sleeping homeless Dreg just vibing at the Tharsis outpost. He can spawn in one of 6 locations at the outpost, and I'll show you all locations now. Location 1 is not too far from where you spawn in by this metal shed, and it's right here on the map. Location 2 is just a little bit further behind the first location, and it's right here on your map if you're having trouble finding it. Location 3 is by a dirt pile near a fence and another fallen digging, and it's way down here in the bottom right-hand corner of your map. Location 4 is up on a roof behind a small dome, and it's here on your map way over on the right-hand side of the area. Location 5 is tucked away in an alley near the postmaster area, which is that pillar over there. It is located here on your map. Location 6 is way up on the roof of the cantina itself, back behind the structure. Here it is on your map, again, behind the building, way up on the rooftop. When you find the Dreg, you can give him credits in exchange for junk. It's basically like pulling the lever on a slot machine. He'll either give you nothing at all, a random useless item, or if you're lucky, the refraction core for your Praxic blade. Good luck. The gyro core is obtained during the dungeon quest The Way Between. Again, if you've skipped ahead to this portion of the video, no problemo, just rewind to the section where I do a quick walkthrough of The Way Between quest. The gyro core will drop when you've both found and returned the 4th relic to the Praxic temple. Alright, finally, why don't we go through traits, aka the exotic catalyst for the blade. The Echoing Blade trait is obtained by rerunning the Fire and Ice exotic mission, which you can only do after beating the Renegades campaign. On your second playthrough of the Fire and Ice mission, you now have to complete a secret quest in the mission, which is find and destroy 7 hidden taken orbs, which I will now give you a rough walkthrough on where they are. The first orb can be found after climbing into that weird tower-looking structure and falling all the way down. As you fall though, take out your Praxic blade and swing to halt your momentum and swing over to that glowing ledge over there. From this point, follow the path I show you now. When you reach the snowy area here, you'll see a taken orb way off behind some bars. What you need to do is walk along the catwalk alongside it, which will activate the symbols on the wall and temporarily make the stones vanish, allowing you to run back and then throw your Praxic blade through a small hole. Be patient and don't worry if it takes you more than one try. From this exact location where we are now, follow the path I show you in order to reach taken orb number 2. When you arrive at the stone with a symbol on it, walk up and touch it to make the stone vanish. Walk into the cave and turn to your right. The orb is there. But you'll have to jump up on a nearby ledge and then follow this path to reach the orb. After you've broken the second orb, walk forward, touch the stone, and return to the exotic mission where you will continue as normal for now. When you get to this section here, aka the annoying dick wall jumping puzzle, keep going forward until you can jump to that snowy rock out in the air. From that rock, follow the path I show you now. With the third orb broken, head back the way you came and continue the jumping puzzle as normal. When you reach this point where you have to crouch walk through this section of the map, you have to take a very slow crouch walk path. Go to the far back left of the area and follow this path. When you reach the stone with the symbol, touch it and fall down, then keep going until you find 2 more stones to touch and break, giving you a window to throw your blade and destroy the 4th orb. With the 4th orb broken, touch the other stone wall and return to the exotic mission path. Not too far up ahead in the mission where you're at the spot where you're kind of jumping on top of some thin fences and ledges, the 5th orb is up around there. Jump over to that chimney looking platform that my friend is shooting at. When you're on the platform directly under it, just look straight up. Jump up, touch the stone, leap up into that hidden room, and you'll see a thin crack in the wall that you can throw your Praxic blade way out at. Return to the exotic mission. When you get to about right here, follow the path on screen to reach the 6th orb. As you can see, the 6th orb is trapped in that cage. When you land on the platform beneath it, you need to throw your Praxic blade so that it hits that diamond shape on the slanted rock. Hopefully, your blade will bounce into the caged room and break the orb. I just kind of jumped up and threw it in there, and that seemed to work though. Whatever works for you. From the 6th orb, follow this path to reach the 7th. When you get here, you might want to kill those taken way out there on the ledges just because they can be annoying. Anyway, keep following this path. When you reach this triangular ledge, you're where you need to be. Look down over the edge and throw your Praxic blade at the diamond-shaped stone to bounce the blade into the 7th and final orb. Again, don't worry if it takes a few tries, it's kind of a weird angle. When you've broken all 7, congratulations, just finish the exotic mission from that point. At the very end, you'll be awarded with the Echoing Blade trait. The Upper Hand and Hyper Blade traits are actually linked together, meaning when you get one, you get the other. They require you to run the Fire and Ice exotic mission yet again and activate a hidden mechanic that will activate an on-screen timer during the mission. Here's how to activate the timer. And shout out to my good friend, my name is Bife, for providing the footage. I accidentally deleted mine like an idiot. From close to the start of the mission, follow the path shown here to reach a taken knight. When you find the taken knight, go ahead and kill him. When he's dead, follow this path as well to reach another taken knight. When you find that Taken Knight in the cave, kill him too. When both knights are dead, continue on with the mission. When you're at the part where you kill the Taken Ogre and then jump through the Taken Portal, you'll notice several dark crystals now floating in the air. Shoot and break all of them, and you'll now notice that a timer has appeared on your HUD. Basically, you now need to beat the entire exotic mission before the timer expires. That is it. Move as fast as you can, and I recommend doing this challenge with friends to make burning down the final boss a little bit easier. If you beat the final boss before the timer expires, then among your final rewards, you will be given both the Hyperblade and Upper Hand traits. The Energy Conduit trait is obtained from the dungeon quest The Way Between. If you jumped ahead in the video to this part, just rewind a little bit to my The Way Between quest walkthrough. After beating the final boss encounter against the Shade of Seer, you'll get teleported back to the Praxic Temple, where you will be rewarded with the Energy Conduit. Swing by the Twitch channel sometime and like today's video if it helped you at all, and so others can find it easier. Hope you have fun unlocking the full power of your Praxic blade. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.